right, everybody. Welcome to another SoTellUs Time. Today, we're really excited to be talking about something that's really important. A lot of business owners struggle with this. It's hard for them. Everyone around them is an expert. Everyone around them knows more than they do, right?
Yes, that's everybody in society today, right? Everybody's opinion matters the most.
Absolutely. Thank you, social media. Everybody's a doctor. Everybody's a financial advisor. Everybody is a spiritual advisor. Everybody knows everything about everything, right?
Yep.
Well, definitely and especially in the business world, this comes up a lot. And so more recently in social media, yes, we've seen this, but for all time of business, this is how an entrepreneur's life has been. Everybody thinks they're an expert. And so whether you have employees and business partners or you are an owner-operator, either way, it's going to be tough to decipher what we're talking about today. We're talking about be careful who you listen to, right? Be careful who you listen to. So if you're an owner operator, you don't have the luxury of bouncing ideas off of employees or parts. And so a lot of times you'll turn to people around you to get advice from them. That can be problematic, and we'll talk about that in a second. If you do have business partners and you have employees, that can also be problematic. So we'll talk about that as well. In fact, we'll add a story in there about business partners as well. So, Troy, what are two things that people that are looking for advice on their business or help, whether that be from business partners, employees, friends and family, whatever, what are two things they should ask themselves about this person?
Yeah, so first off, you should realize and understand that not everyone's advice is good advice, right? Because they're not experts on everything. So that's what you need to ask yourself first is, are they an expert in what they are talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, is this something that they do on a daily basis? Is this how they make their money, right? That's what defines an expert.
Troy, you mean my brother's sister's aunt who is a spiritual advisor isn't an expert on, let's say, HVAC?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. And yet she's going to have an opinion,
right?
And tell you what you should be doing.
Exactly. So are they an expert? You need to define that first. And then can they actually show you real world results and numbers? Because if they can't show you results and numbers in the real world, then maybe they're not the expert that they say they are.
Yeah. And, it's funny because the reason we're talking about this is as entrepreneurs, you will come across people all day long, and you already know what we're talking about. All day long, they're going to tell you, well, you should do this, or my friend said this, or I saw this. And they're going to have these very strong opinions about your business and what you're doing. And the funny thing is it's like if they can't show you real world numbers like you talked about, right? What are they talking about? Really, what is their expertise? And we get caught up in this all the time.
Yes.
We get caught up in this all the time. And so actually I've got a story about that. We were just at a meeting and it was for one of our clients, and they had this guy come in, and it was dental. It was for dental. It was for All on 4. And the guy is a sales rep for All on 4. He supplies things to the dentist and everything like that. They make these different parts. And we were talking about the numbers. And so this dentist had spent $2,000 on PPC leads. Out of those PPC leads, he had generated 22 leads, or that $2,000 spend, he had generated 22 leads. According to the rep, they should be closing about 60% of those leads. So that would be 13. But then if you take the doctor's actual close rate, which was 80%, if he's going to get in front of 13 people, then, he's going to close 80% of them. So if you take those numbers and you look at that, that's $2,000 spent for $300,000 in revenue in business.
That's awesome.
Those are phenomenal numbers, right?
Yes.
You would think that would be something to get excited about, right?
Absolutely.
Well, the funny thing is this sales rep, his opinion was that, well, that's not very good numbers. That's not very, 22 leads is not very many for $2,000 spent. I've got these other dentists and they're doing way more. Oh, okay. Well, what, like how much? Well, I mean, way more. I mean, I can't share numbers with you guys, but I mean, yeah, like way more. And I'm like, oh, okay. So like you've done PPC. Oh, no. Like I'm not a PPC expert, a marketing expert in any means. I mean, I wouldn't dare even try to do what you guys do or even act like I know what it is that you guys do. But I mean, I just, for $2,000, these other guys, they're going to get more leads. They're getting more leads than that. And I'm sitting there thinking about this in your business, right? Everybody stop and think for a second. For every $2,000 you spent, $2,000, if you generated $300,000 in revenue off of that, would you not do that all day long and get super excited? You would be like, this is amazing, right? Business
Absolutely.
would be beautiful, right? It would be like gift from the gods above, right? So it was hilarious. When we were sitting there breaking the numbers down, I'm just like, that doesn't make any sense. These are phenomenal numbers. And so, all on four is a very expensive thing.
Yes.
It's like $30,000 for a top arch and a bottom arch. It's replacing all of the teeth in your head, in your mouth. And so it was just funny to see his perspective. Now, he is a sales guy who supplies and sells the product that these dentists use for the dental offices. Now, Troy made a very good point. What did you tell the dentist after he left?
Yeah, so my comment was basically what he did is he came in and he told you that you should double your marketing budget so that you can sell more of his product.
Right.
Basically, he is saying double what you spend on marketing to make me more money.
Yeah. When you said that, I was like, silence. Exactly. You're exactly right. Like, what he's telling you, spend more money to market my product so that you sell more of my product, so then you have to buy more of my product. Right?
Absolutely.
I mean, that's really funny. I mean, so think about that. Again, $2,000, $300,000 generated. That's phenomenal. Now, let's say that the dentist is, not a great sales guy, right? Or maybe the team isn't bringing all these leads in, right? They're not actually getting people in front of the dentist. So the dentist is actually, I know for a fact, this dentist specifically is a phenomenal. Yeah. He's phenomenal at what he does. People love him. He makes them feel very comfortable. And when they get in front of him, at least 80% of people are like, yes, I want to move forward with you. But let's say like the team's not doing a good job. So let's say we only get 2 out of those 22 leads.
Right.
2 jobs, right? That's $60,000. That's $1,000 per closed sale.
Right.
And you made $30,000 per closed sale. So you spent $2,000 and made $60,000. So even terrible numbers, right? Even if the numbers were way off or something, 60,000. Again, all of you stop and think. Would you spend $2,000 to be given $60,000 in return?
Right? Absolutely. Of course. Why not?
Of course. Why not? It would be perfect, right? That's the punchline. This guy, the whole idea behind it is I could see how the dentist would fall into this person's, he's the expert on all on 4. They build a thing, but they're not the ones doing the marketing behind it, right? And the fact that they tell us these numbers shows me that they don't really know when it comes to the marketing side what they're talking about, because those numbers are phenomenal numbers. Yes. And so that's where here's somebody walking in the door that you think, oh yeah, I mean, definitely. And there was a couple times during the meeting that I thought, yeah, you know what? He really does know what he's talking about. And then we broke down the numbers and we were like, wait a minute, hold on. No. And so you just have to be really careful of who is the expert in your industry, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, let me give you an example of on a smaller scale. Okay. So that was a bigger, larger company that's going to be, now they spent $2,000 just on the all-on 4. That wasn't their total marketing budget. These people spend like $13,000 per month online specifically. So that's a larger company that can afford to do that. Let's give a smaller example for like maybe our owner operators. We had a CrossFit gym that they had a family member who was like a financial advisor, consultant slash, 50 other things. He probably could like baptize your baby and, give you financial advice on the other side, right? He had a lot of titles. But they were spending a couple $100s a month. And on average, and this was just social media, they would on average generate about 15 leads a month from that couple $100 in social media spend. The potential on that, if they were to close 100%, which we know they're not going to close 100%, but if they were going to generate between that, is 15 to 18 leads, 15 to 20 leads basically a month, and it varied, but like that's somewhere around, $4,500 to $5,500 in recurring revenue.
Right.
So even if they closed half of that or a quarter of that, you're talking $200 spent to generate $1,500 to $2,500 in recurring revenue.
10 times your money.
That's phenomenal. Phenomenal. And yet the advice they were getting from this, financial advisor consultant guy, family member, of course, it's family is the worst, by the way. They are the worst because they're going to be the first ones to just poo-poo all over your dreams. I'm like, that is definitely what I have seen in most businesses. In fact, going back to the dentist office, the one thing that the guy said that was really smart was he said, "Now, you don't have a family member answering the phone, do you?" And the guy and the dentist like, "No, we did." And I was like, "Yeah, no, they did." And I told him, "Don't do that." And we had to switch it up. But yeah, that was a big thing. Family members can lead you astray. So he was telling them these numbers aren't good enough. And I'm like, "Okay, so what's the solution? What was the solution he gave you?" And they were like, "Oh, none." There was no solution. And I'm like, what good is this man's opinion that doesn't market for your industry, doesn't market your business? What good is his opinion on this? How can he even speak to this, that a couple $100s spent to generate a potential of, let's say, $2,500 to $5,500 worth of recurring revenue every month isn't good enough?
Well, and I think you hit the head of the nail there real quick. Because you said, what good is his opinion?
Yeah.
Right? There's a difference between someone's opinion
yes.
and someone giving you advice.
Yeah.
Advice means that they actually have some knowledge
yeah.
in that area, right?
Yeah.
So they are an advisor because they have real world experience and knowledge.
Yes.
What he gave was his opinion.
Yes, exactly. And that's the thing is what you got to realize is a lot of times these people that are poo-pooing on your dreams and aspirations, they're giving opinions. They haven't done it.
Right.
If they haven't gone out and done it in your industry, then they have no idea what they're talking about. Now, you'll notice I don't go to my home inspectors and tell them how to inspect a home. I don't tell them what kind of gun they should use to check if there's leaks in the, air conditioning or whatever, I don't go to my pest control guys and tell them what kind of chemicals they should use, right? But what I do is I advise on the business aspect of it and more so the marketing side
yes.
and the growth side, the side that I have an expertise in. There's a lot about their businesses that I don't understand. I am not the expert in my 3,500 plus clients in 27 countries. I am not the expert in their industry.
Right. But
what I am an expert in is growth and business management and tracking numbers, right? And so you got to make sure, look, like Troy said, look at the person and have them show you the results in the numbers. If they can't show you numbers, they don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
Quite frankly, right? Now, one last story real quick, and then I think Troy's going to get onto the homework. Because I wanted to tell you guys about business partners. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Business partners, that can either make or break your business 100%. We had an HVAC company come in and they wanted to do some marketing. And we were like, yeah, we did a market analysis. We were like, yep, we can crush it for you in this area, no problem. And we started to do that.
Yeah.
Now, what happened was they were calling and they were asking weird questions. And it was just like, you got this sense of like, they weren't happy. And I was like, what are they not happy about? We were recording the calls. We knew how many leads they were getting. We knew how many jobs they were closing.
Yep.
We had an estimate of how much they were making based off of that. So we knew they were growing exponentially. Though on the one side, the one guy was like, yeah, we're getting employees now and all this and everything. But then the other business partner kept calling and asking these weird questions and kind of like hemming and hawing and was like, well, how much are we spending? And no. Well, what all came out was the one business partner wanted to grow the business. He was super excited that he was getting employees, he was growing the business, and they were spending like $2,000 a month on PPC, $2,500 or something like that. And they were generating, I mean, one of the jobs was huge.
Yeah.
They generated one job that was huge.
Like $15,000.
$15,000 just in one job. And so that paid for it for quite a while, but they were generating other jobs as well, and they were growing really well. Well, come to find out, the other business owner, he didn't want to grow. He didn't want to deal with employees. He didn't want to deal with payroll. He wanted just
He didn't
enough.
want to work 6 days a week.
Yeah, he didn't want to work 6 days a week. So he just wanted to be comfortable for himself. He wanted enough jobs to keep him and his business partner growing, but just them.
Right.
But the other business partner, on the other hand, he wanted to grow and just get employees and like kind of sit back and not have to do as much in the field, not, get trucks going out there. So that whole thing fell apart. The whole thing fell apart because the one wanted to grow, the other one didn't want to grow. And the funny thing was they both came and met with us about marketing and everything. And yet they hadn't had a conversation prior to meeting with us about what their actual game plan was. And so it all fell apart because the one guy wanted to grow. So he's like, well, maybe I should break off on my own. Anyways, it was just a big, long mess and problem. So again, just because you have business partners and you have employees doesn't mean that this is any easier.
Right.
Everybody's still going to have an opinion. Your business partner is going to have an opinion. So you better, if you haven't gone and sat down with your business partner this year and determined what are our goals for this year, then from there, drawn out, how are we going to reach those goals? Because it's another thing to say, I'm going to do 150,000 new customers this year, but you're averaging 5 jobs a month. Right. Guess what? Those numbers don't match up. So it's got to be realistic. So I would recommend doing that. All right, guys, let's get on to the homework. Troy?
Okay, so the homework this week is pretty easy. I just want you to create a list of trusted advisors who are experts in their area, who are successful and have actually done it before. Yeah. So, if you're looking, if you need, an advisor on marketing, find somebody who is an expert in marketing. Yep. They're a successful marketer and they've done it in their own business, right?
Yes.
And it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's accounting, whether it's operations, but start to create this list of the people that you can trust their advice. Not because they say you can trust them, but because you can see the results that they have been successful and they've done it.
That's right. And that's the thing is, like, for instance, that's the first thing I walk in the door when I'm talking to somebody, a potential client or something else. I let them know we have several successful businesses doing millions of dollars a year that are our businesses, our products, separate of what we're talking about you necessarily today. So we don't recommend anything for you that we wouldn't do for ourselves. So our consulting business is separate from all these other businesses that we personally own that do really, really well. We're very successful. We're doing every marketing tact that we are telling our clients to do.
Yeah.
And those are the type of people you should be, surrounding yourself with and taking advice from. Because your mom, who did a great job raising you, doesn't necessarily know how to build a business, right? Yep. Or your aunt or your uncle or especially, like, it was funny, I was talking to this one guy and he was telling me about, well, yeah, my uncle was telling me that I should do X, Y, and Z. And I said, oh, that's great. So your uncle owns a business? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, okay, that's a great start. So he's successful in his business? Well, no, he actually went bankrupt and now he works for somebody else. And I was like, and you're listening to this guy for what reason? Other than like, don't do this.
Yes.
Don't do what I did. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed spending a little time with us today on SoTellUs Time. Please like, share, comment, get this out to all your friends and family, spread the word. And we love and appreciate each and every one of you. We'll see you next time.